Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Aquarius for August 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see my options for learning astrology, anywhere from beginner to doing it professionally. Also, I have blogs that can assist you with astrological and other topics there, and lots of other goodies that you can check out that I get myself into. So, what is going on in this month? We've got Mercury retrograde and going direct. We have Mars retrograde and going direct. We have a new moon solar eclipse, the third in our eclipse series. We have 2 outer planet trines, and we have some minor annoyances in the form of a bunch of squares. So I'm going to go into all of the details of the transits, general transits, later, but first I want to talk about something specific to Aquarius, how all these things may affect you personally. If you've been watching my videos at least for a few months, then you know we've been moving along a continuum of talking about how these 3 eclipses of this summer, and for y'all down under, the winter, how you can expect them to manifest. We had 2 eclipses in July, and you can still see effects from those eclipses in August and even beyond. Sometimes it takes some time for things to percolate, news to come in. It's very common for a couple of weeks after, even a month or so after an eclipse, for news to come in. So in August, you can have news come in from either of those July eclipses, and you can have news come in from the August eclipse itself. In my June report, I talk about the first eclipse in July, where it will hit for Aquarius. In my July report, I talk about the second eclipse for July and where it will hit for Aquarius, what you can expect. Now in this August report, I'm going to talk about the third eclipse, the solar eclipse new moon, which is at 18 degrees. And this is important for Aquarius because it's opposing your sign. So remember, we've been talking at length, when you have an eclipse cycle going on featuring your sign, you're getting activated in very major ways, because alternating eclipses are hitting, either opposing your planets or hitting near your planets. So this is a major activator for change. That's why I'm calling the theme of this month A New You in View. So you've been seeing that we've been talking about some pretty major things going on for Aquarius in general, and this is one of those things. So the eclipse is going to be on August 11th. It's a solar eclipse at 18 degrees of Leo. If you have planets near 18 degrees of Aquarius, then this is going to oppose them. So we're especially going to say, like, between 13 and 23 degrees of Aquarius. If your placements are anywhere in there, this eclipse is going to affect you the most. And remember what happens with an opposition. The key word of an opposition is overstimulation. So you're having this massive amount of stimulation, and a lot of it has to do with the me versus we. I've been talking about this theme for a while. So you, the individual, versus you, the person in relationship, the things that people in your life need versus the things that you need, the greater good of the group versus your own individuality and creativity. These themes are just bumping up against each other and, you know, hitting back and forth. If your birthday is between February 2nd and February 12th, especially like around February 7th, this is going to, you know, hit you, oppose your sun. So there are other implications of that. The sun represents a male energy in your life. And even though the eclipse itself is this solar eclipse, if it's opposing your sun, you've got 2 energies of sun, this male energy that can be, in some cases, eclipsed out, or a chapter could be eclipsed out. There could be a dramatic conclusion. There could be a manifestation, something involving yourself, or it could be happening to a male in your life that affects you. And that's for better or worse. You know, we don't ever really know with these things. There's not anything to say that it would directly be good or bad, how we would label that good or bad. But it's definitely busy, and it's definitely powerful. So as far as where these are going to hit for you, the early and middle degree placements, so basically the first 2/3 of the sign, or first like 20 degrees, 19 degrees or so of this sign, if you're watching for your rising or moon sign, you're going to have this solar eclipse hit in your 7th house, the house of relationships. the house of one-on-one connections with other people. This could be marriage, this can be work relationships, this can be something important, a relationship with your neighbor, you know, you in context to a relationship with other people. You later degree placements, you may feel this relationship thing coming up from a number of different possibilities, but many of you are going to have this eclipse actually hit in the 6th house. Sometimes I have people who are newer to astrology, and even some people who are not newer to astrology get confused by the fact that I say that this eclipse can hit you different depending on where you are in the sign. It's a very confusing concept to understand without a visual, and even sometimes with a visual. But if you imagine, the zodiac is like this wheel, right? So let's say you're here, and you're an early middle degree placement, and your chart is here because of those degrees, early middle, right? These 20 degrees are here. Well, in order to get late degree on the ascendant, which is what we do to look at the chart, it turns. So when it turns, all of the things that were in a certain place just click over to a different place. And that's what happens. So depending on your placement, this has this potential to show up in a different area. So to make a late degree Aquarius chart, it actually looks more like an early degree Pisces chart. So it's different. It's different than the other ones. And sometimes we'll see certain potentials that will light up as the same for all of you, but sometimes it will be different. So for those of you who have this manifestation in late degree placements in the 6th house, the 6th house can bring in these new opportunities having to do with health, diet, animals or pets, your office or workspace, your structure, your routine, your organization, your system. And remember, with this solar eclipse, we are talking about something new. And even though there may be an ending that's rolled into this new thing, like you have to start something new because something ended and you don't have any choice, there's still this energy of newness. The solar eclipse opens up a new window. It plants seeds, and sometimes those seeds start to manifest right away. But sometimes it's like a foreshadowing, like you see this is going to happen in the future, but it's kind of already changed because you already see that the change is going to happen. So you're kind of just dealing with the in-between of things aren't different yet, but they're about to be different. I can feel them being different, and you're just kind of, in that. And that could be, again, for better or worse. So the 6th house eclipses can sometimes bring a health crisis or a health breakthrough, or both. You know, as things are having being brought into focus, sometimes you become aware of something that was going on under the surface, and then it becomes, you know, an issue, it becomes an event. Sometimes it could be that you've had something going on, and the solar eclipse brings this new opportunity for healing or a breakthrough. So there's definitely a lot of busyness in the sector of health for you late degree placements especially, and animals and the work things and all those things we talked about. Something else that's notable specifically for Aquarius that's going on this month is that Mercury is in retrograde, but Mercury is in retrograde in Leo. So again, all of this energy in Leo directly affects you through opposition. So especially 9 degrees through 24 degrees if you're watching for your rising sign or sun sign or moon sign. And if your birthday is like January 28th through February 14th, this Mercury moving backwards, because Mercury moves backwards from like 23 degrees back to 9 degrees or 8 degrees or so. So it's going to hit in opposition any of your Aquarius planets between around 9 and 24 degrees. Okay, so what does that mean? Again, this is an overstimulation. Whenever we have something connecting in the form of an opposition, it's in the place that it's in. Like in this case, many of you have this relationship sector being brought up, and then the opposite space is in your individual space. So like your Aquarius planets in this, for the sake of this chart, are like in yourself. That's yourself. That's your 1st house energy. And all this Leo activity is happening in your relationship space. So things coming back from the past, problems coming back from the past, opportunities coming back from the past, people holding you to things you committed to, people trying to get you on board with something. Just a lot of activity with having to interact with people, usually with the slant towards the past. So it's like it's an overstimulation. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, Sometimes because we tend to want to not deal with things and we sweep them under the rug, then Mercury retrograde brings them out from under the rug. They can be challenging, but there are so many beautiful opportunities that can come up. Like, wow, where did that come from? That just totally was a blast from the past. And that could be a good thing, but it could just cause you to be busy or cause you to have to, do things. So that's specifically notable because of it being in Leo. So those are the things that are most on my mind for Aquarius placements. Now I want to just do an overview of the way to manage the combination of the retrogrades and the eclipses, some very special tips for how you can make the most of this energy. I'm also going to hit by date the transits that I think are the most important for you to note and tell you some of the implications I think you can find there, so you can mark your calendar, to kind of be aware of them so you can be proactive as far as their manifestation. And the more you pay attention to these, the more you learn about astrology and the more you learn about yourself and how things affect you personally. So it's a very wonderful self-development tool. So I'm going to go into all that now. So the theme of the month for August 2018 for all signs is magical alignments and abundant blessings. And that is for a bunch of different reasons. We have so many things going on now culminating into these magical potentials. So we've got Mars retrograde and then going direct around between the 26th and 28th of August. We have Mercury retrograde, and that was starting July 26th, running through August 18th or 19th, depending on your time zone. We have the new moon solar eclipse in Leo. That's going to be on August 11th. We've got 2 outer planet trines. So there's magical things going on there. So we have a full moon in Pisces at 3 degrees on August 26th. So these are a lot of things that are going on. So I want to just give you a little recap of how to use these energies well and hit a couple of dates to note. Also note that the information that I'm giving you, if you are better with written and looking at things visually, you can get a written version of what I'm describing plus more details about the general transits and aspects for August and every month when you sign up for my free newsletter at AnnieHelpsYou.com. When you sign up at AnnieHelpsYou.com, you'll get a resend of all the newsletters I've sent for recent times so you can catch up with what's going on. And then, of course, I always send these out a month early so you have them for your planning purposes. So you know the good days, the dicey days, and things like that to make your plans. So the eclipses and the retrogrades are both increasing the odds that things worked of, dreamed of, and planned on in the past will come to fruition now. This is a major time of continued manifestation. The retrogrades are not good for certain things, which you can check out on my website, AnnieHelpsYou.com, and also check out on my YouTube channel. If you put in Annie Botticelli YouTube, I have lots of videos about Mars retrograde, Mercury retrograde, on the things to avoid during these transits. But there are a lot of things that these retrogrades are really amazing for. And one of them is to let things come to you, is to be the spider. It's like you've woven your web, and maybe you're also weaving a web for future catches in the future, but it's in the backdrop. But you're just letting things come in. You're relaxing, you're de-stressing the best way you can, you're not forcing things, you can be comfortably productive, but it's more about being the spider and letting your food come to you. Another theme of this month is taking a break from the norm in big and small ways. Even something as simple as driving down a different street to go to work builds new neuronal pathways in your brain. And not only is that good for the longevity of your mental capacities, it's also, when you light up new neuronal pathways in your brain, it activates new energy in your field to bring in new things to you, to break out of old, a matrix, an old matrix. So you can do things different in a small way, or you could do things different in a big way. There's an example that I want to give you about this artist that I know who is very detailed in his painting, but he was stuck. He wasn't getting paid for his creative work, and sometimes it would take him years to complete a painting. Of course, if you see the painting, it would be like, wow, you can't even believe that somebody could create that, especially with a small paintbrush. But he was stuck. And so during this cycle of the retrograde, he started watching Bob Ross. I don't know if you know Bob Ross, the epic Bob Ross with his epic hair, but you can look him up on YouTube. He basically teaches you how to paint landscapes, and you can watch him paint this amazing landscape picture in like 20 minutes. It's crazy. So he started watching Bob Ross and then started applying this very fast using of the artistic skills to get in and get out and finish things. And because of that, things unlocked for him, and he's had this whole new opportunity for being paid for his artistic work, when before he was stuck in the same old way. But that's how you can use, that's an example of how you can use these retrograde energies to just break from the norm, to open yourself up for more opportunities now from the eclipses and other things, and also in the future. So definitely check out my Mars retrograde blog and video. Definitely check out my Mercury retrograde video. But do know that this month we are carrying those energies, but both of those planets are going direct. So I gave you those dates earlier. If you're traveling now or ever, and you are interested in seeing what the astrology for your travel time is, things to look out for, things to be aware of, you can check out my website, Astrology Kiss Travel Bliss, and I do monthly travel astrology reports on there. Okay, so this long series of retrogrades that we've had for months could be wearing on you, and your patience could be running thin. This plus this notable amount of squares, so I'm calling it minor annoyances with these squares, but major blessings because of these, the solar eclipse and the outer planets coming together in beautiful configuration. But just know that you're going to have a little bit of an open boosting time. So even though the personal planets being retrograde are not going to end this long sequence until like December, at the end of August, beginning of September, you'll have a little bit of a break from the deep retrograde energies, okay? So if certain things have to bubble up, you know, effervescence, just bubbling up, you might notice some momentum and some things starting to pick up at that point. In general, issues with anger at present or past situations can come up strongly, so the more you can not act from a charged space, the more you can prevent yourself karmic repercussions. And also adopting the spiritual recognition of divine timing over your own timing is a major theme that the astrology of this month wants you to bring into your forefront. Everything is happening just as it's supposed to, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Okay, so I'm going to hit a couple of highlights of dates to watch. August 1st, we've got a square. Tension can create breakthroughs here, but any way you can break free from something, just try to do it with care and not with anger. August 6th, we have another square, the Sun and Jupiter. So you can feel very proud and capable with this transit, but depending on how you bring that feeling out to the world, maybe it won't be well received. So just kind of watch it, try to tend to not overdo on any level, including spending, food and drink and substances and things like that. On August 7th, we have Uranus going retrograde. That starts at 2 degrees of Taurus and it goes retrograde back to 28 degrees of Aries. So anybody who has placements there, it won't go direct until January 6, 2019. So this is where the planet of change and freedom switches to do deeper work on your inner space. Okay, so either to catch up with changes that have already occurred in the outer realms or to prepare you for future changes that are coming in the outer realms. Also on August 7th, we have a beautiful trine with Venus and Mars. So this is a great little boost here in the midst of some of the annoying aspects. We've got on August 8th, Venus opposing Chiron. So it's very likely to bring up some challenges involving love and money, and feeling like your self-esteem is off or feeling like a victim is more likely at this time. But of course, it always gives us opportunities to have breakthroughs as well. August 8th, we have the Sun conjunct Mercury in Leo, so you can have your creativity ignited. It can fuel romance, it can increase fun, it can also increase ego flares and battles, so just tread lightly on charged topics. August 9th, we've got we have Venus square Saturn. I don't know where July just came from. Anyway, so Venus square Saturn. Whenever Venus, the planet of love and beauty and money, comes together with Saturn, just sort of this hard-nosed, you know, challenge bringer, especially in that type of configuration, it can bring money or relationship issues. So, you know, the need for you to deal with them is going to be higher, but your inclination to avoid them is also going to be high. We've got another square on August 10th between the 10th and the 11th of Mercury and Jupiter. Whenever we have squares with Jupiter, Jupiter is a benevolent outer planet. So even the challenging aspects with Jupiter can be softer than squares with other planets. So it can bring a lot of optimism, but again, with that like a tendency to overdo, like I have so much energy, I don't know what to do with myself, and then now I just burn myself out or something like that. So just kind of be aware of what you're committing to. August 11th, we've got a solar eclipse, new moon at almost 19 degrees of Leo. So this is time to make your 10 new moon wishes on the topics of Leo. So anything with children, creativity, romance, fun, hobbies, addictions, leadership, acting, anything else that puts all eyes on you. So new opportunities and major new chapters can come in from that eclipse. August 19th, we have this official trine between Jupiter in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces. So again, this started at the end of December. There's some story that started at the end of 2017. It got strong again at the end of May, beginning of June. And then this is the final connection. So if you have any, especially water placements close to 15 degrees, but really anything that would aspect the 15 degrees there is going to more closely affect you. And you'll feel that trine for quite a while, you know, a while before the 19th and a while after the 19th. August 25th, we have a grand Earth trine with the Sun in Virgo, Saturn in Capricorn, and Uranus in Taurus, and those are at 2 degrees. So if you have any planets at 2 degrees, especially, you know, something that causes an astrological aspect with Earth in those signs, there's going to be more effects for you. August 14th through September 13th, we will very likely feel this beautiful effect. So launches and important things can be great, even though we're kind of still doing a lot of retrograde energy. If you have to push in something at the end of August, beginning of September, you can ride the coattails of this trine while getting, you know, Mars will be direct as of between the 26th and 28th. Mercury is already direct, so you'll have more momentum here and you might see some really beautiful things happen. August 27th, Mars is direct at 28 degrees of Capricorn. That post-shadow period stretches until October 10th, so it won't regain full oomph until then. But momentum and drive and ambition will definitely, for those of you where it was waning, it will very likely start to return, sometimes to the day. It'll be a little sleepy, but you'll feel something different, like something's waking up. So on August 27th or 28th, depending on your time zone, Mercury will square Jupiter again. We had that square earlier that I mentioned, but because Mercury was in retrograde, then it did it in retrograde, then when it went direct, it did it again. So just be careful of overcommitting. And if you can promise or commit to only a fraction of what you feel like you can do, then you'll be happier, because as time moves on from this moment, your optimism or the reality may set in. And if you commit to something from that high space, then it's going to be hard for you to pull it through. Okay, so these are the things that are most on my mind for the transits in August. Definitely, if you would love to learn astrology, check out my website, anniehelpsyou.com, for my astrology education options. If you'd like to be a coach as your profession, I would love to help you, teaching you my 6-step formula to getting results. I'm really good at setting and reaching goals, and I love to teach people how to do that for themselves and for other people too. If you'd like to bring your business online and have geographical freedom, you may be interested in my Creating Successful Online Business course, which you can also see at anniehelpsyou.com. Remember that if you would like a written horoscope from me, often with different things than I talk about in the video, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. At cozybysweetstarlight.com, you will see blogs featured from people, up-and-coming bloggers, also from myself, and my horoscopes are featured there. But there are a lot of different lifestyle blogs there that I think you will enjoy. So check that out. Go to my husband's website, IamHelios, IamHelios.com, to learn tarot. Also, he does astrology readings, tarot readings, and other cool things you can see on his site. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.